Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm really excited because I'm going to have a special guest on the channel, one of my good friends, fellow podcaster, content creator, Mekel Kasanova, and we're going to talk about some of our Shenmue memories growing up with the series, especially with Shenmue 3 just right around the corner and the HD remake of 1 and 2 just over the horizon. So without further ado, Mekel, how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's good to be here. I love collaborating with you, and I'm ready to talk some Shenmue.
Oh yeah, I thought you were about to say Brady talk shit. I'm like, okay. But okay, so I have a couple of questions to ask you about Shenmue, and I'm going to talk about some of my memories as well. The first question I want to ask you is, what is your first memory with Shenmue?
My first memory with Shenmue, I believe it was, I want to say 1999. I remember seeing, I think it was GamePro magazine. They did like this article on it, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, what is this Shenmue game? Like, what is this gonna be about? Because I don't think prior to Shenmue coming out, there's anything that was done on the scale of what Yu Suzuki was trying to do with it. So I was super intrigued, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, I don't know if this is going to be a big seller or not. I asked my parents to get it for me, but unfortunately, they're like, no.
So you had a Dreamcast at the time that Shenmue came out?
Yes,
Oh
Dreamcast
wow.
and launch.
Oh wow, cause see, like I didn't have a Dreamcast, and I remember, like you, I saw it in the magazines, and it looked like something just out of this world, something I'd never seen before. And a lot of people were like, if you have a Dreamcast, you have to have Shenmue. That was like the hot app to have at
Yep.
that time. And so when you did finally get to play Shenmue, what were your first thoughts playing it? Did it live up to the hype?
What's funny is the first time I actually played Shenmue was I want to say it was earlier this year. It's the first time I actually got around to playing it like
Oh wow.
legitimately on my Dreamcast, just because I had opportunities. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm lying. The first time I played Shenmue was actually Shenmue 2. I played the demo that came with the Xbox magazine. You know how they used to have the demo disc.
Yeah, yeah.
So I played for the original Xbox, and I was like, this is fantastic. But the thing is, I couldn't find it anywhere. I was living in Memphis, Tennessee at the time, and the very few gaming places we had, like this is before, GameStop and all that. We had Funko Land, Babbage's, Software, etc., KB Toys and whatnot. And I would go there and I was looking, trying to find this game. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I never got to play the first one, but it came with Shenmue the movie to recap the
Yes,
first one.
yes.
So I was like, oh man, I need to find it. I could never find it anywhere. I'm not sure if it was sold out or they just didn't stock it. So my my first time actually playing Shenmue was this year when I actually played it on my original Dreamcast.
It,
I was
you,
finally able to get
I
it.
was like, you brought up a good point because my first time ever playing the Shenmue series was also Shenmue 2 on the original Xbox. I was working at Babbage's at the time, and we could check out games to improve our gaming knowledge. We could just check out games and keep it for a couple of days, and that was one of the games I checked out because I'd heard so much about the first Shenmue, and I never had a Dreamcast at the time, so I never got to play it. And I played it, and it was just very overwhelming at first because you really hear people talk about how you can go through this game and you could do absolutely anything you want. You see a piece of fruit, you can pick up the piece of fruit. If you want to buy capsule toys, you can do that. You can play arcade games, but actually playing the game and actually doing it, it's a totally different ball game from just hearing it
Yeah.
upon your peers. So playing it and experiencing this open world and quick time events. I want to note for the viewers that are watching right now that Shenmue really started the revolution of quick time events,
Yep.
because after Shenmue you had things that happened in Resident Evil and God of War, and everyone either said, oh, it was like QuickTime events, or like you had a Shenmue moment. I mean, that really says something about a series that can just make this playability its own title, a Shenmue moment.
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you as well, a big bombshell, and that is, what was your reaction to, I believe it was 2015's E3 of Shenmue 3?
I was honestly stunned because I remember in the mid 2000s they were talking about doing Shenmue Online, and I remember how hyped they were hyping that up, and I was always waiting for that to happen. I'm like, I want to play it. It never came to fruition. And then when I saw that trailer for Shenmue 3, at first I was thinking, wait, did they take Yakuza and put it out in the countryside or something? Like, what's going on? Then I saw Ryo Hazuki, and I was like, oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Yo,
I remember I wasn't watching E3 at the time. At the time, I was working out of town, and I was on my way to the job, which was like an hour away. And I was on my phone checking updates, and I remember our friend Amy, Power Level Amy, she messaged me. At first, she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're making a remake of Final Fantasy VII," and that was already just like, what? But then they said, we are making a Shenmue 3. And I thought they were trolling us at first. I'm like, seriously, Shenmue 3? This is coming out? This is a thing? And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that we were getting Shenmue 3. And so with that being said, there's going to be a lot of new players, a lot of new gamers that are going to be going into Shenmue with the Shenmue HD Remaster 1 and 2, and then Shenmue 3. Mekel, would you recommend Shenmue to new gamers?
Oh man, you had to put me on the spot. I would definitely recommend it to new gamers, especially if you're wondering, if you want to know how the open world genre is, kind of began. In the sense of, I feel like Shenmue is the series that kind of started or kickstarted it, as well as being a natural evolution of the beat 'em up genre too. I would highly recommend it, but I would also caution people to go into it with an open mind. It's not going to have, or maybe they are going to update some of the mechanics, but I think it's still going to have a lot of the same mechanics from 1999. So
yeah,
just have an open mind with it, because I see a lot of people that are really hyped about it that don't know anything about Shenmue other than, that's the popular thing to be hyped about now.
Yeah.
And I would hate to see people hype it and then the same people that are hyping it hate it because it doesn't play like something more modern. So
yeah, that's one of my worries as well, because I played Shenmue not too long ago, like last summer. I had played some Yakuza, and I was like, you know what? I got a new tube television at the time, and I was like, I want to play some Shenmue. I haven't played Shenmue in a while, and I played it, and it hasn't aged well. I mean, I'll be honest, the game has not aged well compared to, open world what we have now. You go from playing, Breath of the Wild or Horizon, and then Yakuza, and you go to Shenmue. It's very like primitive. And I think that's the best way to say it. It's very primitive. It's not bad, but at the same time, for anyone who hasn't played Shenmue, keep in mind, this is before analog controls. Yeah. Because, you move with the D-pad, not the analog, which I always thought was kind of weird because the Dreamcast had an analog stick. And luckily with the HD remakes, or remasters I should say, with the remasters, they are going to be upping the ante and giving it more modern controls. So if you could say, before we close this little interview, if you could say something that you would really like to see in Shenmue 3, what would it be?
Okay, so one thing I would like to see excuse me. One thing I would like to see in Shenmue 3, hopefully, I would like to see Ryo run into Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza.
Yes.
I want to see this.
I asked you this question just to hear that response. I knew you were going to say that. Because me too. I would love for Ryo to go into, Club Sega and he walks by like the super hang-on machine, and he's like looking for something, and he asks Kiryu, and Kiryu looks at him and is like, huh? You know, or it'd be awesome if Ryo ended up in some like cabaret and saw, Majima, behind the bar or something, serving him a drink. Just a little Sega cameo, which I have to say, just like the Yakuza series, Shenmue has a lot of Sega love letters, and I would love to see more of that with Shenmue 3. That's something that I would love to see.
Definitely.
So, anyway, guys, Mekel, I'm going to ask you, where can people find your content?
You guys can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just look me up, Mekel Kasanova. That's Kasanova with a K. You can check out my written reviews and a lot of my other content, like kind of a central hub on my website, mekelkasanova.com. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And man, thank you so much for being on this video. And if you guys enjoyed this video, if you enjoy this style, leave a comment below, because I can bring some other YouTubers as a kind of like this little interview thing. And it's great. I'm glad you were my guinea pig, Mekel. You were my first. But yes, guys, be sure to check out Mekel Kasanova's channel. I have a link on the description below. I was on a podcast of his not too long ago talking about Konami and Sega, and we talked a good share of Shenmue and Yakuza there as well. And anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the bell beside the subscription button, and this will notify you on all weekly content. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, happy gaming.